At 72, I realized that what pains me most is not the mistakes I made at work, not the failed investments, not the arguments I should have avoided. What chokes me up every morning when I stand in front of the mirror is that I did not live my own life. I lived the life others expected me to live. I chose a career because my family thought it was right. I behaved in the ways society praised. I became the person everyone loved, except myself. And the most terrifying part is that I didn't realize it when there was still time to change. I spent years believing I was fine, that I was right, that I was doing what I was supposed to do. But somewhere inside, a piece of my true self kept shrinking, fading, until I could no longer hear my own voice. I'm telling this story not to complain or to seek pity. I'm telling it so that you, who still have time, can ask yourself the question I avoided for far too long. Is your life truly yours? When I was young, I thought I had a whole lifetime ahead, long enough for every dream to wait until tomorrow. I believed I had time to paint, to learn to see the world through the colors I loved, to become the person my heart had chosen long before my mind could speak up. But then, when I was 18, just one sentence from my father cut everything short. You have to choose something safe, short, cold, clear as a verdict. And I closed my sketchbook, put it in the drawer, locked that dream away as if it were a luxury my family couldn't afford. During career counseling at school, the teacher asked who I wanted to become. I remember the sound of the chalk on the board, the smell of it, the cold wind slipping through the window frame. My heart wanted to say one thing only: I want to paint. But when I saw my father's eyes through the classroom door glass, I knew I had to say something else. And I said, I'll study economics. That was the first time in my life I betrayed myself. And the dangerous part was that no one noticed, not even me. Then I grew up, and for me, growing up wasn't about knowing what I wanted, but about knowing what would please others. I chose a job the adults called stable, a path society said was reliable. I learned to say things that wouldn't upset anyone. I learned to hold back questions that would confuse people. I learned to nod at the right moments, smile in the right places, and people liked me for it. I bought my first house in the suburbs, with a neatly trimmed lawn, a white mailbox by the curb, a garage always quiet, like an untouched cave. I became a model, a responsible man, with a career, a family, no drama, no trouble. But every time I drove home, I turned off the radio, just to listen to the silence inside me, a silence that grew more terrifying than any chaos, because it told me I was driving through someone else's life, not my own. Then came middle age, the age when people think they've figured themselves out. One ordinary evening, my daughter asked a very simple question. What do you like most, Dad? That question was light as a breath, but it stabbed straight into the deepest part of me. I opened my mouth, but I couldn't speak, not because I lacked an answer, but because I realized I hadn't lived authentically enough to even know where the answer might be. My daughter's question became a broken mirror pointed at my face, that I hadn't just forgotten the things I liked, but perhaps I had also forgotten the person who once liked those things. That night I went down to the garage. I opened the wooden box I hadn't touched in over 30 years. Inside were drawings from the time I still believed I would become an artist. Trembling youthful strokes, but more alive than anything I had done in decades. There were pieces of music I wrote at 17, when life to me was a wide open door, not a narrow hallway I was only allowed to walk down one way. I touched those fragments of memory and realized how far I had drifted. So far that I had to struggle to remember what it felt like to live as myself. So far that I understood I had abandoned that person, the one who once dared to dream, as if he were a flawed version of me, sitting amid the smell of old paper wood in a youth I had traded to be the right man. I understood that I had paid far too high a price for the safety society celebrates the price of identity, of passion, of soul. And the most painful part is that I didn't lose everything in one dramatic event. I lost myself through small choices, small nods, small silences, until I could no longer hear the sound of the real person inside me. From the moment I entered the world, I was taught to choose what was right. And because I didn't want to disappoint anyone, I chose the safe path at every turn. I chose a low-risk job, a position the adults said offered long-term stability, an environment where everything had clear rules, so I wouldn't have to wonder if I was doing something wrong. I chose a lifestyle that avoided controversy, polite, pleasant, conventionally kind, never bothering anyone, never causing waves, never having any edges that might make others think twice about me. I made decisions that disappointed no one, from how I behaved at home to how I acted at work. I always tried to be the person everyone could trust, rely on, feel safe standing next to. But in all those choices, my heart was never consulted. I lived by other people's logic, by society's standards, by rule books I never wrote, but followed as if they were natural law. And then with every promotion, I received more admiring looks, from colleagues, from friends, from people who only saw my outward success and never the withering inside. I smiled, shook hands, nodded thanks, did everything a right person should do. But with each of those moments, I also gained another layer of emptiness inside. Not chaotic emptiness, but a silent, smooth, steady emptiness, like dust slowly settling over an abandoned room. My stable exterior became a discreet prison. It had no bars, no locks, no screams, but it kept me locked inside the version I had created to please others. The tragedy was that everyone thought I was happy, and worse, I once thought so too. I thought stability was proof of happiness. I thought respect was proof of success. I thought never disappointing anyone was proof of maturity. But the truth was, I was only living in a thin shell, and at any moment it could crack open, revealing that I didn't even know who I was. One day that emptiness could pretend no longer. It erupted like a knock on the door in the middle of the night, dry, patient, reminding me that I had gone too far from my true self. I looked back and saw that I had long left the forest of my real identity. The place once full of color, noise, curiosity, and excitement was now just a faint memory behind me. A place I didn't dare return to because I feared what I had missed. The choices that seemed reasonable, according to the times, according to advice, according to expectations, had led me deep into a maze. People call success, but success without soul is just a beautifully framed collapse. I lived by other people's logic for so long that I could no longer hear my own footsteps. I didn't know where I was going, didn't know what I was running for, didn't know what I was trying to prove to whom. Everything I achieved echoed loudly on the outside but rang hollow inside. And when I realized that, I understood that I had built a grand castle only to discover it had no door for me to enter. The scary thing was not that I chose wrong once, but that I chose wrong for so long that the wrong became my real life. I confused respect with meaning. I confused stability with happiness. I confused admiration with wholeness. And I confused the world's applause with the voice of my own heart. When I looked back, I saw a life full of achievements but lacking soul. A life with structure but without essence. A life that was right but not right for me. And that was the moment I understood that success cannot save a man who has lost himself. It can only help him hide it longer. I didn't lose myself in one tragic moment. I lost myself through tiny words most people see as harmless. I'm fine. It's okay. I agree. Those words, seemingly ordinary, became the first 3 nails driven into the coffin of my true self. Each time I uttered them, I did something very dangerous. I showed others the version they wanted to see and hid the version my heart wanted to keep. At first it was just a way to keep the peace, to avoid trouble, to save energy, but then it became reflex, as if my body had learned to automatically choose others' comfort over my own truth. I smiled when I wasn't happy, worked when I was exhausted, nodded when my mind screamed, "Don't do it." I stayed silent when I wanted to speak, and I compromised even in moments when my entire soul protested. The things that kill identity are not the big fights, but the times we bend ourselves to fit a mold we never chose. Over time, the pretending turned me into an easy man in everyone's eyes. Friendly, kind, gentle, reasonable, undemanding, untroublesome. People thought I was good-hearted. People thought I had an open heart. But the truth was I was fading more and more. They saw an easygoing man. I saw a shadow. They saw a gentle smile. I saw a long crack I didn't dare touch. Then one evening my wife looked at me for a long time and asked, "Are you happy?" Just 4 words, but they were like a small, sharp, cold blade, cutting through the shell I had built over decades. I wanted to say no, wanted to say I'm tired, wanted to say I don't know who I am anymore, but my mouth, so used to the role, answered yes, one single word, short, but it ended every last effort of the real person I had once wanted to protect. Because if even with the person who has been beside me the longest I didn't dare tell the truth, then there was nothing left to save. After that, between me and the people I loved, there was no big fight, no door slammed, no wounding words. On the contrary, on the surface everything remained calm like any normal family. But a silence crept into every dinner, every hug, every morning greeting. A strange silence, not hurried, not loud, but persistent like cold fog. That silence came not because we were distant, but because they no longer knew who I was, and neither did I. The house still had laughter, but I no longer recognized which of those laughs belonged to me. When you pretend long enough, you don't just deceive others, you deceive yourself. You forget what you really like, what you really want, what you really fear. You can no longer tell which feelings are real and which are programmed to avoid upsetting anyone. You lose the ability to feel yourself, to speak for yourself, to stand on your own side. And then one day you realize you have nothing left except the role you've played for half your life. One night, I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the man there. That face looked back at me like an actor who had played the part too long and come to believe the role was him. What made me shudder was not that I disliked that man, but that I didn't know who he was. That is the most insidious and devastating loss a person can experience. It doesn't make you collapse in a moment. It makes you collapse in silence, a little each day until you disappear without even being there to witness it. And the most terrifying part is that no one notices. No one startles. No one calls your name, because in their eyes you're still fine, still smiling, still saying it's okay, still playing the familiar character. Only you know the truth that you are no longer there, that what remains is an empty shell carrying out your duties in a life you never chose. Standing at the end of the road, when the years ahead can be counted on one hand, I realize that happiness is not something you reach by pleasing everyone, but by stopping betraying yourself. You cannot live a full life if every day you have to wear the face others want to see. And if you don't choose your own life, don't be surprised when others choose it for you, because they won't have to pay the price for any of the consequences you bear. I also understand that honesty sometimes costs you a few relationships, a few kind looks, a few compliments you were used to. But dishonesty costs you your soul, and that price is greater than any disapproval. So keep one small part of the day just for what makes you feel, "This is me," even if it's so small no one else notices. A page of writing, a piece of music, a moment alone to listen to the truest voice inside. And finally, I want you to remember this. It's never too late to return to your true self, but don't wait until the end of your life to realize you've gone too far. You can stop, turn around, and find your way back. Just dare to look straight at where you are standing. I cannot redo my life, but you can save yours from becoming a copy of mine, starting with one small choice today. If this story touches you, please subscribe so you don't miss the lessons I understood too late. See you in the next video, where we continue the journey back to ourselves.